Here in 2018, we are faced with a very important decision to make. We're talking about elections and moving the country forward and linking the wealth between urban communities as well as sub-Saharan Africa. For the last 4.5 years, the National African Business Association have been leading the way to support businesses and economic development within our own African communities. Now we're at a crossroads with that. The city of Detroit, right here in the state of Michigan, is coming out of a deficit and now is in a surplus. And as Mayor Mike Duggan tonight gives his State of the City address to not just his supporters and people who agree with him that the city is moving forward, but also I want to give this particular State of the City or State of the State, or whatever you want to call it, but I call it the state of NABA. And the reason why I call it the state of NABA is because we are literally on the move for 2018. The NABA plan is in full effect. We're working right there in the city of Inkster, Michigan, implementing our STEAM program, that's Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. It's our ideal to develop a cyber city by the year 2021. And the cyber city includes not just a cybersecurity infrastructure, but also a cybersecurity industry that will train and employ thousands of people, not just within the city of Inkster, but around the region. It is our intent also to fuse that with our second pillar, which is agricultural technology and renewable energy. Now, we understand that people in low-income communities always pay higher heating and cooling bills within their homes. It's my intent that we will see a solar Inkster and use that as an implementation to other areas around the world in places like Nigeria and Ghana and Senegal, and hopefully Sierra Leone and Cote d'Ivoire by the year 2025. We also are looking into implementing geothermal energy. These are some of the core things that we are working on in terms of renewable energy. As far as agricultural technology, we would like to fuse a lot of agricultural products and goods and services to bring back not just to the city of Inkster in the form of a farmer's market, in the form of co-op grocery stores, but also in the form of imports and exports by utilizing our port authority here in Metro Detroit, right here on the Detroit River, where we can import our agricultural products such as cassava and coca right here to the state of Michigan and process it for necessary uses to employ and empower low-income communities around the state of Michigan. Cultural arts is a big one. Cultural arts is very important because cultural arts help redefine low-income communities in struggling economic bases. Cultural arts such as fashion incubators, textile industries, public art, murals, and design are all part of a renaissance to empower local residents and give them not just a self of empowerment, but also increasing the tax base with different types of festivals and arts and crafts and things of that nature that is fused with graphic design and many other things, even artificial intelligence. How do we link the wealth with cultural arts? We link the wealth with cultural arts by understanding that places like Nigeria, places like Senegal, West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, these places have immense resources that we can import right here that put people to work. Ladies and gentlemen, micro enterprises is another part of our NABA plan. We believe in small businesses. We have partnerships with community development financial institutions, microloan programs, and SBA. And last but not least, of course, we have to understand the importance of health and public health. Things have to be addressed through public health, whether that's nursing and allied health, nursing, skilled nursing, and those types of things that's going to help reinforce and empower the community through women empowerment. Women empowerment is a major player in the National African Business Association. I would have never agreed to move back to Detroit or the Detroit area in places like Inkster if I didn't feel like women empowerment was not going to be part of our platform. We have to understand what the assault on African and Caribbean immigrants here in the United States, that it's time for us to pool our resources to develop our tax base, to create new businesses, to bring African-based businesses from the continent of Africa and from the Caribbean here to the United States, to implement in low-income communities, to develop a tax base, and to create an economy that could be self-sustaining and self-lasting. We no longer have to just look at financial institutions locally, but internationally as well. It's one thing to have First Independence Bank right here in the city of Detroit, and understanding it's a Black-owned and operated bank that's been around since 1970. However, we have African-based banks like GT Bank, Zenith Bank, and other banks around the continent that we should be partnering with to increase our wealth. Venture capitalists, same thing. We should be increasing our wealth and start with our startups with venture capitalists right there from the continent of Africa who are investing on the continent of Africa, but also want to invest in the diaspora. We have to do a better job of getting the message out to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora to help them understand that linking the wealth and going global is going to be the key in 2018 and beyond. We no longer have to have 20th century tactics to move forward, but we need 22nd century tactics to link the wealth so that our children can be wealthy, can be prosperous and abundant for the next 6 generations. And people need to understand that, because that's very important to move our diaspora. It makes no sense that Black folks in this country don't want to invest in the diaspora economically and link the wealth. City of Detroit sit on an international waterway. There's no reason why we can't utilize our port authority. There's no reason why we can't utilize Willow Run Airport as a cargo airport, moving goods and services out of the state of Michigan. We sit on the Great Lakes. We have all this wealth. We have trains moving from Canada to Chicago, going straight through Detroit, straight through Inkster, and it doesn't make any sense for us not to achieve that wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take up most of your time right now. I'll be having these series on state of NABA, but we urge you to join us and help us grow the National African Business Association and our One Voice Alliance. Our One Voice Alliance are a network of organizations that are helping us move this process forward. And we're thankful for them, and we thank them for allowing us to become that one alliance. We will continue to move forward and not look back. Thank you.